There is a 1997 Honda push mower sitting in my shop right now. I paid $80 for it, and the part that killed it cost me $14 to fix. Here is what nobody tells you. The mower on the shelf at the box store for $529 cannot be rebuilt, and that $80 Honda can be rebuilt forever. So why does every mechanic I know cut his own grass with a machine older than his truck? Picture a Saturday morning on your own street. Bulk trash day. Somebody has rolled a mower down to the curb. The pull cord hangs out of it, limp, like a tongue. Sometimes there is a piece of cardboard taped to the handle. Won't start. You drove past it. Everybody does. You figured whoever owned it had run it into the ground, and you figured you would not know what to do with it anyway. My name is Alex. Folks call me Alex the Mower. I have a two-bay shop behind my house with a dirt floor on one side. It smells like gear oil and cut grass, and there are usually 9 or 10 machines in there in some state of undress. 22 years of this. Now, let me tell you about the one that taught me everything, because it was not a curb mower. I bought it new, April of 2004. I was 26 years old, $499 on a store card, self-propelled, high wheel, shiny. Year 4, it quit. No compression, no pop, nothing. The shop did not even pull the shroud off. The man asked me for the model number and told me the cam gear was plastic, that the teeth had let go, and that the short block was $340 plus his labor, on a mower worth $150. So I rolled it down to my own curb and taped cardboard to the handle. And that is the part that still stings. My grandfather never bought a new mower in his life. Neither did my father. They fix things. 2 generations of it, and I had to go learn it back from strangers because nobody had ever sat me down and told me any different. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. The next spring, I started sweeping floors at a small engine shop 2 towns over for a man named Dale Carrick. Dale was 61. He had forearms like fence posts, and he had been fixing mowers since Nixon was president. And in the first week, I noticed something that did not make any sense to me. Dale had 4 men working for him. Every single one of them cut his own grass with something ancient. Dale ran a Honda HR-215 from 1985 with an aluminum deck that will never rust as long as the earth turns. His son ran a Toro Super Recycler with a 2-stroke engine in it that sounded like a chainsaw and laid a stripe you could see from the road. The kid who did the sharpening had a lawn boy so old there was no year on the tag, older than he was, that his uncle had handed him. Not one of them owned a new mower, not one. And understand, these were men who could buy anything at cost. They had a wall of parts behind them. They had accounts with every distributor in the state. They could have had a brand new machine in the truck by Friday for less than you pay. And they were all mowing with equipment from the Reagan administration. I asked Dale about it maybe a month in. He was hunched over a carburetor bowl with a can of dip in his hand, and he did not look up at me. He said, "Son, we do not buy the ones that are for sale. We buy the ones that are done being sold." It took me 2 more years to understand what he meant. So what do those men know that the fellow in the orange apron does not? Let me start where most folks start wrong, because if you get this part wrong, then nothing else I tell you today is going to help you. You believe a mower dies of old age. It does not. A mower almost never dies of old age. I'm going to tell you what actually kills them, and it is going to sound too simple to be true. Gasoline. That is it. That is the killer. Pull the shroud off 9 dead mowers out of 10, and the engine inside is fine. The rings are fine. The valves are fine. The crank is straight. What happened is that somebody put gas in it in June, cut the grass until August, and then set it in the corner of the garage until the following spring. And the gas you buy at the pump is not really gasoline. It is 10% corn alcohol. They call it E10. Alcohol pulls water out of the air, right through the vent in your fuel cap, all winter long. Then the light part of the fuel evaporates off, and what is left in the bottom of the carburetor bowl is a sticky yellow varnish, like old honey. And somewhere in the middle of that carburetor, there is one hole. One. The main jet. On a typical push mower, it is about 30 thousandths of an inch across. Thinner than a sewing pin. Thinner than the wire in a lamp cord. Plug that one hole with varnish, and a $200 machine will never run again. And the man who owns it will decide he needs a new mower. Dale had a number, he used to say. 9 out of 10 at the curb are a $14 carburetor and a fresh gallon of gas. 22 years in, I would say he was being conservative. Now here is the second half of it, and this is the part that changed how I buy. Because you might be thinking, fine, old mowers die of bad gas, but surely a new mower is a better mower. It is not. It is a cheaper mower dressed up. Let me be very specific with you, because specifics are the only thing worth trusting. Older engines, say anything built up until the middle 1990s, had a cast iron sleeve pressed into the aluminum block. Briggs & Stratton put it on the engines they called IC, Industrial Commercial, and Industrial Plus. Kohler did it on the whole K-series. Honda did it, Kawasaki did it. That sleeve means when the cylinder finally wears, a machine shop can bore it out, you put in a bigger piston, and the engine is new again. It can happen 3 times. Most of the cheap engines they hang on a box store mower today have no sleeve. The piston runs directly on plated aluminum. When that plating scores, and it will if you ever run it low on oil for 20 minutes, the engine is scrap metal. Not repairable, scrap. Same story with the cam gear that killed my mower. Old ones were steel or powdered metal. A lot of the new ones are nylon molded because nylon is quieter and it costs about $1. Same story with the carburetor. Old ones came apart. There was a bowl nut, a float, a needle, and a little kit with gaskets in it for $11. A lot of the new ones are sealed for emissions with the jets pressed in and no adjustment anywhere. You do not fix that. You throw it away and buy the whole carburetor. And the deck, which is the part that actually matters most, has been getting thinner for 30 years. Go find an old Snapper or an old Toro from the 80s and thump the deck with your knuckle. It rings dull and heavy. 13-gauge steel, some of them. Thump a $299 deck at the store. It sounds like a trash can lid. So here is the truth that reframed all of it for me, and I want you to sit with it. You are not buying an engine. You are buying a deck and a drive system. The engine is a consumable part, like a tire. Engines are the easy thing. There are 150 used engines within an hour of your house right now for $60. What you cannot buy is a heavy deck that has not rusted through around the spindle, and a transmission somebody can open up and put a gear in. So a 20-year-old mower is not a 20-year-old mower. It is a good deck with a tired fuel system sitting on it. And nobody sat in a room and decided to build you a worse machine. A buyer in a purchasing office told the manufacturer the mower has to sell for $299, and the engine is where $300 worth of decisions went to die. The dealer is not your enemy either. He just cannot make a living selling you something once. So let me show you exactly how I do this. 6 steps in the order I do them, with what it costs. First step, shop the off-season. This is free, and it is worth more than everything else combined. Nobody wants a mower in November. Nobody. That same machine that a man wants $250 for in the second week of May, he wants $60 for in January, because it is taking up the spot where his snowblower goes. I do all my buying between the 1st of October and the end of February. Here is the trick inside that trick, and it is the best one I know. In late September, call every independent small engine shop in a 30-mile radius. Not the dealership. The one-bay place with the hand-painted sign. Ask the man if he has any customer-abandoned machines. Every one of them does. People bring in a mower in June, get quoted $140, and never come back for it. After a set number of days, the shop can sell it for the ticket. I have bought running Honda commercial mowers for $90 this way, twice. Second step, read the engine, not the mower. Ignore the color. Ignore the brand on the bag. Ignore how ugly it is. Look at the sheet metal shroud on top of the engine. The blower housing. On a Briggs & Stratton, there will be 3 numbers stamped or printed there. A model number, a type number, and a code number. That code number is the date. The first 2 digits are the year it was built. Code starting with 96 means 1996. 90 seconds, and you know exactly what you are looking at. What I want is a cast iron sleeve. So on Briggs, that is IC or Industrial Plus, or the older Quantum. On Kohler, that is the K-series or a Command, and Honda or Kawasaki, almost anywhere. Third step, The 3-minute walk-away test. Do this before any money changes hands, standing in the man's driveway, and do not be shy about it. Pull the cord slow, about 6 inches, and feel it. You want it to stop hard and snap back at you. That is compression. If it feels loose and airy, walk. Then grab the blade at the tip and rock it side to side, up and down. There should be no play at all. Any wobble means a bent crankshaft, and a bent crank is the one thing I never buy, because it will shake itself and you to pieces, and it costs more to fix than the mower is worth. Then pull the dipstick and smell it. If it smells like gasoline, the carburetor needle has been leaking fuel down into the crankcase. That is a $15 fix, and a wonderful thing to find, because it looks terrible, and it is not. Use it to get $30 off. Last, lay the mower on its side and look at the deck where the spindle comes through. Surface rust is nothing. A soft spot you can push a screwdriver through is the end of the conversation. Fourth step, fix the fuel, not the mower. 2 nuts hold the carburetor on, usually 10 millimeter. Take a picture with your phone before you pull the linkage off, because the little springs go back one way and only one way. Now, the thing most folks miss. On most of these carburetors, the bolt in the bottom that holds the bowl on is itself the main jet. There is a tiny hole crossways through it. That is the hole. That is the whole problem. I drop the metal parts in a can of Berryman B12 Chem Tool, the one with the wire basket in it, for 30 minutes, then blow it out with air. Here's the trick you rewind for. To clear that jet, you use a single strand of copper stripped out of a piece of lamp cord. Copper is soft, so it cleans the hole without opening it up. Never a drill bit, never a torch tip cleaner. Make that hole bigger by 3/1000ths, and the mower will run rich and smoke forever, and you will never know why. A gasket and needle kit runs $11 to $16. A whole aftermarket carburetor is about $22. Fifth step. The $40 tune. Do all of it at once, on the bench, before you ever try to start it. New spark plug, and I use an NGK BPR 4ES on almost everything. $4. Air filter, 8. Fresh fuel line, and a little inline filter, 6. Oil out, and it will come out looking like coffee, then a quart of straight 30 weight, $7. New blade, 18, or sharpen the old one at 30 degrees, and balance it by hanging it on a nail in the wall until it sits level. That is it. That is under $50, and now put it against my old life. $80 mower, $50 of parts, one afternoon. $130 against $529 at the store. Sixth step, and this is the one that decides whether it ever comes back to haunt you. Store it right. The mower did not fail. The fuel failed. So at the end of the season, you either run the tank completely dry, or you fill it with ethanol-free gas, which you can find at marinas and a lot of country stations, and add a stabilizer. I use Stabil, then pull the plug, put a teaspoon of oil in the cylinder, pull the cord twice, and put the plug back. Do that, and I will make you a promise. That machine will start on the second pull in April every April, until you are too old to push it. Now let me back up from the workbench for a minute, because there is a bigger thing here than a mower. Run the money out to 20 years. On the box store path, you buy a mower every 4 or 5 years at $400 to $600. Call it 5 machines, $2,500, and 5 engines in a landfill. On the other path, you buy one good deck for $100, you feed it a plug and a filter and a quart of oil every spring, and you replace the engine once, maybe, around year 15, for $80 off a rusty machine somebody else gave up on. Call it $600 for 20 years. That is a truck payment. And the mower you end up with cuts better, because a heavy deck holds the blade steady, and a steady blade cuts grass instead of tearing it. But that is not really why I do it. Dale Carrick died in 2019. Before that, in the last year he was in the shop, I asked him what he wanted done with all the machines out back, and he said something I have not stopped thinking about. He said nothing on this earth is worn out until the part you cannot replace is gone. On a mower, that is the deck. Everything else is just weather. That is the whole video right there. Almost everything you throw away, you are throwing away because the cheapest, smallest, most replaceable part of it stopped working, and somebody who profits from your not knowing told you the whole thing was finished. A $14 carburetor, a $4 spark plug, a gallon of gas that went bad in the corner of the garage while you were busy living your life. That is not you being bad with machines. That is you being lied to by omission. And there is one more thing I did not expect. My boy is 11. He held the flashlight for the Honda in the hook of this video. And when it lit off on the third pull, he hollered loud enough that my wife came out to the shop. He now believes, at 11 years old, that broken things are usually just dirty. I do not know what else I am supposed to teach him that is worth more than that. So here is what I want you to do tonight. 2 things, and both are free. Go out to the garage and pull the dipstick on whatever you have got and smell it. Gas in the oil, you just found your problem. Then open Marketplace on your phone, search mower not running, set the price under $100, sort by distance, and message the 3 closest people tonight before you go to bed. In October, you will have your pick. Ask if it has been sitting with gas in it. When they say yes, that is a good sign, not a bad one. Then come back and tell me in the comments what you found and what you paid for it. Tell me the brand and the year off the shroud if you can find it. I read all of them, and I want to know what is sitting in garages in your part of the country. Next time, I am going to walk you through riding mowers, which is where the real money is hiding, because a 1990s lawn tractor sells for $400 and a new one is $3,000. And I'm going to show you the one number stamped on the transaxle housing under the seat that tells you whether you have a transmission you can open up on your kitchen table with a screwdriver and a coffee can of gear oil, or a sealed unit that is worth more than the tractor it is bolted to. Same number, same spot, on almost every one of them. Most people never look. Until then, keep your blade sharp, keep your gas fresh, and stop driving past the curb.